The first signal arrived like a ghost knocking from the wrong side of reality. It came at 3:17 station time, whispering through the deep band receivers of relay station K77, a forgotten listening post drifting beyond Neptune's orbit. For 80 years the station had heard nothing but cosmic static, the occasional pulsar rhythm, and once, the faint crackle of a dying probe from a century-old expedition. No one expected anything more. K77 existed only because it was cheaper to maintain than to dismantle. Lieutenant Mara Venn was on graveyard shift when the signal appeared. At first she thought it was interference, another phantom echo bouncing between magnetospheres. But the waveform stabilized. It repeated. Structured. Intentional. Her fingers hovered over the console as the automated translator tried to parse it. Symbols crawled across her screen, halting, correcting, reassembling. Then the system chimed. Identification match. Archival signal. Her stomach tightened. Match with what? The answer scrolled slowly, as if reluctant to exist. Source. Exploration vessel Aurora's wake. Status. Lost 82 years. Mura stared. Every cadet learned the story of Aurora's wake. It had been humanity's most ambitious deep space mission, a generation ship built to test faster-than-light folding drives. It departed amid global celebration and vanished 12 minutes after its first jump. No debris, no distress call, just silence. The investigation boards had concluded the same thing. Catastrophic misfold. The ship wasn't destroyed. It was gone. And now it was calling. Her throat felt dry. "Station command," she whispered into the comm. "You need to see this." Within minutes the observation deck filled with personnel. Commander Ilian Rourke watched the replay of the signal with arms folded so tightly his knuckles whitened. "Could be a hoax," someone muttered. "No one's transmitting from 80 light-years out with 22nd century encryption," another replied. Rourke turned to Mara. "You're certain it's authentic?" "Yes, sir. Signal degradation matches extreme distance transmission, and the encryption lattice is period correct. If it's fake, it's the most sophisticated fabrication ever made." The translator chimed again. A line of text resolved. "Is anyone still there?" A chill rippled through the room. Rourke's voice dropped. "Reply." Mara hesitated. Protocol required confirmation from central authority before responding to unidentified signals. But protocol had never imagined this situation. "Sir, if it's really them." "Reply," he repeated. "Type. This is relay station K77. Identify yourself." Static. Seconds passed. Then the signal returned. "This is Navigator Elias Cord. Starship Aurora's wake. Requesting navigational reference." The deck fell silent. Someone whispered. "He sounds like he thinks he left yesterday." The message ignited the solar system. Within hours, every major observatory locked onto the signal's coordinates. Within days, fleets of analysts dissected every byte. Historians unearthed personnel files. Psychologists speculated about temporal dislocation. Physicists argued over whether the ship had slipped outside conventional spacetime. But only one question mattered. Where was it? Triangulation placed the transmission source in interstellar void. Far beyond Pluto, yet not quite in any known sector. The coordinates shifted slightly with each pulse, as though the ship existed in a location that refused to stay fixed. Theories multiplied. A gravitational fold pocket. A quantum echo. A residual imprint from a failed jump. Mara ignored them all. She sat in the dim signal chamber night after night, conversing with a man who had crossed a century in 12 minutes. Elias Cord's messages were brief but lucid. To him, Aurora's wake had launched less than an hour ago. The jump countdown had finished. The stars had bent. Then something had gone wrong. "We're not moving," he transmitted. "The stars aren't moving. They're sliding. Like reflections on water." He reported that most of the crew was in stasis for the test phase. Only the bridge team had been awake. Now, they're gone. Not dead. Not missing. Like they stepped sideways, he explained. I turned and the captain wasn't there. The pilot wasn't there. Chairs empty. Voices cut off mid-word. Mara felt unease creep into her bones each time he described it. "Have you attempted emergency jump reversal?" she asked. "Controls don't respond," he replied. "It's like the ship's systems exist half a second out of sync with me." The science teams devoured every detail. His description suggested the impossible. The ship had misfolded into a temporal shear zone, a theoretical region where time didn't flow uniformly but fractured into parallel gradients. In simpler terms, Aurora's wake had fallen between moments. Weeks passed. Signal clarity improved as technicians refined the transmission lock. They even managed to send limited data packets, star charts, physics models, fragments of modern history. When Mara told him the date, Elias went silent for nearly 3 minutes. "That's not possible," he finally said. "I know. My mother would be." "Yes." He didn't respond after that for a long time. The breakthrough came from an unexpected place. Not from central authority. Not from the physics consortium. From Elias himself. "I think I can see you," he transmitted one shift. Mara leaned forward. "Explain." "There's a brightness. Like a reflection. Flickers when your signal strengthens. I thought it was a sensor glitch, but it reacts to your transmissions." The station scientist scrambled. "If his perception is accurate," said Dr. Halvorsen, "then the signal isn't just communication. It's anchoring him. Giving his frame of reference a temporal constant." Mara blinked. "Meaning? Meaning he's drifting through fractured time. But when we talk to him he aligns, briefly, with our timeline." Rourke stared at the data. "So conversation is stabilizing him." Halvorsen nodded slowly. "Yes. And if we increase synchronization?" The implication hung in the air. "We could bring him back," Mara breathed. They called it the anchor protocol. Using K-77's entire power grid, they amplified the signal into a focused temporal beacon. An impossible device that shouldn't have worked according to half the known laws of physics. When they activated it, every monitor on the station filled with distortion. Reality itself seemed to ripple outside the viewports. Stars stretching into thin silver threads. "Elias," Mara said, voice steady despite her racing pulse. "If you can hear me, we're initiating retrieval alignment. Describe what you see." "Static." "The stars, they're stopping." "No, they're locking. I can feel the deck vibrating." "Hold position," she said. "Do not move." "I'm not moving." The signal spiked. Warning lights flared across the station. "Temporal feedback increasing," a technician shouted. "We're approaching critical shear." Rourke hesitated only a moment. "Maintain output." Outside space twisted. Something appeared. At first it was only a shimmer like heat haze in vacuum. Then lines formed within it. Angles. Surfaces. Metal reflecting starlight that hadn't touched it in 80 years. The outline of a ship. Aurora's wake. It flickered, half-transparent, phasing in and out as though uncertain which century it belonged to. "Stabilize!" Halvorsen yelled. Power surged. Consoles sparked. Mara gripped her headset. Elias, you're coming through. Stay with me. I see you, he whispered. There's a station. I can see it. His voice trembled, not with fear but awe. You're doing great, she said softly. Just a few seconds more. The ship solidified. For one perfect instant it existed fully in their time. Then the beacon overloaded. The chamber plunged into darkness. Emergency lights flickered on. Smoke curled from the console banks. Technicians coughed, checking systems. Did we lose him? Someone asked. No one answered. Mara's screen sputtered. Static crawled across it, then cleared. A video feed resolved. Not a transmission. Camera. On her display stood a man in a faded flight uniform. Hair unkempt, eyes wide with disbelief. Behind him stretched the bridge of Aurora's wake. Silent, empty, real. He stared straight into the lens. I'm here, he said. The room erupted. Docking crews rushed to meet the ship, which now drifted motionless beside the station like a relic pulled from myth. Scans confirmed what eyes already saw. The vessel was intact down to the molecular level, as pristine as the day it launched. Mara was first through the airlock. The hatch hissed open. Elias Cord stood waiting. For a moment neither spoke. They simply looked at each other. Two people separated by 8 decades and an accident of physics. You're real, he said quietly. So are you. He laughed once shakily. They said we were lost forever. They were wrong. He glanced back at his empty bridge. What about them? Mara followed his gaze. We'll find them. If they slipped between moments. Maybe they can be brought back too. Hope flickered across his face. Fragile, luminous. Outside the viewport, the stars shone steadily, no longer sliding. Aurora's wake had returned. Not because of engines. Not because of chance. But because, across the gulf of impossible time, someone had answered when a lost voice asked, Is anyone still there?